right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our Jewel Chat. End of month. It's almost March. So today I'm really excited because I have some key things I want to share. We'll talk about March, plan for March real quick, and then we can get into some specifics. I really loved what we learned at the Star Diamond Mastermind in Arizona past couple days. Dr. Henry Cloud was amazing. He had no notes, no PowerPoint, nothing. He was just like an outflow, I guess, of the 20 books that he's written. And it was really good stuff. So I was going to share a couple things with you guys on that. But I know the homework that we did, I think it was maybe at the beginning of February, was listing out like specific ways that we want to be showing up in our business, and also a letter to ourselves of how we got to the next rank. So those two things I feel like have given me clarity. Those of you who have done the homework, do you feel like it's given you the same? Yeah, I think this is something that I'm recognizing is in this business, it takes thinking, like thinking about where we want to go, reflection about where we've been. And I think taking time to slow down and like think through those things, it feels like it's slowing down. But I think it's slowing down for a purpose so that we can speed up. And I think that without that, we can accidentally get like on a hamster wheel that's not taking us to where we want to go, you know? And then last week we did, the homework was doing a 2-week post audit, looking at how many business posts versus product posts, which you can go look in your archives too on your stories to see like what the mix is. Because often we think that we're doing more than we're doing, I think, in like the business versus products. Because the goal is all of us need 3 to 6, but I'll just say 6 new leadership, like gold leadership legs. I know Genevieve has been talking about that also with you guys. Last week, we talked about some self-doubts, some specific ones. What if I don't make it? What if I lose current people? What if I don't ever get a business builder? And maybe I'm not good, or maybe I'm not a leader because I don't have a bunch of business builders. So we were observing and deciding whether we wanted to think those thoughts, and letting our brains go to like worst case scenario now. Like, what if that actually happened? What would we do? And then looking at what else is possible. And we rewrote those sentences because, I mean, they're sentences that I think that if we haven't thought them yet, we will think them at some point. And then we did a challenge to like flip those scripts to practice specifically and intentionally practice other thoughts that we want to be operating from, and listing out like 3 feelings or attitudes that we do want to be showing up with. So maybe it'd be helpful if I shared mine, and then you guys, if you feel like it's like, oh yeah, I really like that, then you can put it in yours also. So I put on the top of my page, how does Emerald Reentry Meg show up? And each of you can think that. How does Sapphire Lisa, Sapphire Angie, Sapphire Melody, Tammy, and Amy show up in our businesses? And so the thing I put on the top of my list is cast the vision. Like, we have got to be vision casters. And this is actually something that Dr. Cloud talked about. He had, and you might write this down, like, it wasn't like a flow chart. He just had a whiteboard. He was scribbling on it. So the very first thing was vision. And I really appreciated what he said about that, because he said that how anything gets done, basically, like put an X on your paper and put from here at this X to like draw a line and then X over here there, which is basically like where current rank is now. We're going to translate it into Plexus, Emerald, or your specific number of points, to the next rank, and put the specific number of points. We have a continuum of actions that we're going to be taking, and thoughts we're going to be thinking, and feelings we're going to be feeling, right? And so drilling down and getting really intentional about those things, I think, is super important. Like, I've never even discussed or thought about this, but like, as we've gone farther in this business, there are key marks of things that successful people do that are knowable and learnable and adoptable, right? So I personally think that the next rank ups that we all have will be done in the best way we've ever ranked up before, in a healthy way, in a sustainable way, in the tippy top highest leadership levels that we've ever had before, And so he said, voices in our head limit our vision, which I think is why it's good to actually get the elephant in the room, or the thoughts that we're thinking out, so that we can take them captive. And because they limit our vision. And we all have tapes playing in our heads. And I think the longer I do this, the more like, okay, we got to figure out what tapes are playing in everybody's heads. And that's why I have just been doubling down on one-on-one chats with people, like face-to-face preferably, because I think that's what the root of everything is, because that's where their actions and the results, that's where everything flows from. And so if we can figure out those things, then we've unlocked it. and when we can hold the mirror for people. And I know I've been in different chats with some of you, with people, and asking the specific questions. Like, I have had some amazing calls with people asking them, what are your 3 wins, and what are 3 self-doubts you're dealing with right now? Some of them I've been face-to-face with, but some are just in Facebook Messenger chats. And we've had some amazing conversations, and people are getting results, I think, because we're kind of addressing the ground zero spot, of where people are taking action from. And I think for all of us, we were filled with such huge belief. We were like, it was almost like a movement of a lot of people at the same time working towards a specific goal back in like 2016, 2017. And we were like listening to training, on repeat and things. I don't know that people now are doing that as much, like people that we recruit. I don't know if they're putting themselves in a position for their thinking to be challenged. And so I'm not saying that doesn't work, or it won't come back, or whatever, or that our people don't plug into some of that. But I think that all of us had a natural, like, it was innate or organic for us to like listen to a training and then go take action, listen to training, go take action. And I don't know that our people are doing that, at least at the same level. And so I think that the value of us getting in 3-way chats, welcome calls, or like the 3-way calls, or just being in coaching, spaces to like the opportunity to coach people, I think that's where it's at. Like, I just feel like the duplication piece is going to stem from us spending time doing that with people. I think that's the key, honestly, for our rank ups. So I view myself as working with you guys, but also imparting my brain, my strategy, the thoughts that I'm thinking to all of us, so that we can like glean. And I want you guys to do that for me too, because I think that's how we glean and get better. Right. So anyways, casting the vision. He said, you have the ability to create something that doesn't exist, and that our brains don't go anywhere by itself. And that we, I don't know where I put this. He said, ask yourself the question, is my vision limiting me? And why do you believe your current vision is as big as it gets? And what I thought was interesting, I don't know where I wrote this down, but leaders have the ability to see farther than others see. Let me see if I can find that little spot where he said that. Leaders that have vision have the ability to see what others do not see. And so that's something just to think about. Like, am I a person of vision? Can I vision cast for others? And I thought it was really interesting. Tarl and Alec both spoke. And so it was nice to see both of them in person, and Genevieve. And they were all kind of talking about the same thing. And it struck me, because they have like the next 15-year vision for Plexus, because like, I think this is our 15th year. And I was actually sitting with Sheila Medina on the bus back from corporate. And she was just telling me like, wow, it's been a wild ride, because she's been in since the beginning. and she's getting ready to go double diamond. She's like, that's never really been my goal, but she's like, I really want to help people. Like, that's what fuels me. That's what excites me. And so she's developing her people. And she's like, I have a girl that's, almost sapphire, but she's like, when she goes sapphire, that means I'm going to be double diamond. And so it's just interesting. Like, she hasn't been like a fast double diamond. I mean, she's 15 years in, but keeps plugging away, chipping away, working with people. And anyways, I was like, wow, that's super cool. Because Genevieve was like, oh, I hear people say, oh, I wish I would have been in earlier. And she has this funny, like, gets this funny look on her face. She's like, you are in it. Like, there's been a lot of kinks that have been worked out in the first 15 years. But like, why is it, why can you not create what you want to create now? Like, we're 15 years in, let's think about the next 15 years and what we want to create. So anyways, I was just feeling encouraged, like, regardless of how long or whatever it's taken to get to where we are currently, well, we still have time to create some more things. So anyway, so vision is at the top. Maybe I'll just give you that timeline really quick. It's not a timeline, but it was just like a list of, like, a horizontal list of things. So vision, and then like put an arrow, and then the next thing is engages talent, and then the next thing is strategy. The next thing is measure and accounting. And then the final thing is fix and adapt. So those 5 things are key for getting to where we want to go. And I think it's interesting when you look at those, to be like, what am I particularly good at? And he was saying, like, you don't have to be amazing at all of them. Although I say successful people probably have elements of all those things, maybe highest in 1 or 2. But he was like, pull other people onto your team that are good at those things, where you feel like you lack. And I think the cool thing is we can get better at all those things. But just set that aside for 1 second, because I'll blitz through how I want to show up. So the thing that has been just coming to me so much is boldness. Like, we have got to be bold. I have got to be bold. And I think I've had this, like, hold up of like, oh, people are annoyed. Like, my close circle, I see who sees my stories. Like, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. Like, where are my avatars? But I've just decided I'm sharing the business. I am talking about the business. I am putting in my stories. Like, I'm not scared. I am not embarrassed, because I know the potential that it can be for people. And when I am consistent in showing up with that energetic, like, joyful expectancy, I think that's what I wrote down, joyful expectancy about this opportunity, people show up. And I'm specifically praying just those same prayers, like, Lord, bless the work of my hands and magnify the hours of my day, and specifically bring us people that need the opportunity. And I'm seeing the Lord answer those prayers. But I mean, obviously I'm praying that way, but I'm also doubling down on my own efforts as well, because people only can see what we put out there for them, Grateful expectancy, abundance, excitement. And I wrote down, I know I can go emerald again and do it even better this time. Now, mind you, I need to grow by a senior ruby leg, actually more than a senior ruby leg. So I have like 1,000 points to grow on my emerald, or my soon to be emerald account. But I thought it was interesting on that call that Jordan did for our team at the beginning of the month. She said that the month that she went emerald, she wasn't even ranking senior ruby. But there was someone that came onto her team like in the month of March and went fast start senior gold. And so, like, it's crazy how like one person or a couple of people can like drastically change things really quick. And that's the thing, is like, I feel like network marketing is like you plod along and then all of a sudden things can just take off so fast. I wrote, I know how. I have the skill set and the mindset. I feel very confident in that. Like, I feel like I could go double diamond. Now, am I going to? Well, on the 15-year plan, yes, but like, I'm in a special season. And so I feel like I have like specific safeguards and boundaries, and like really not wanting to miss it with my kids right now. But if I recruit people for the business, it doesn't have to be hard. Why do I think it has to be hard? It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be the same as how I did it the first time, right? Where there's just a lot of hustle, and I felt like I recruited the world, which I'm going to continue to recruit. But like, It's a little laborious to me to just kind of be on that triplex hamster wheel and trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip because they're not necessarily a business builder, but like recruiting them good, recruiting the Eagles. And obviously I'm going to keep working with whoever and stoking the fires of people that are on my team. But I said more will. Why can't this be easy? Others want what we have, and I can help them find a better way. And my just thing that I wrote down and what I told the girls this weekend, like, what do I want? Is I want to develop diamonds. Like, I wrote that at the top of my paper. I want to develop diamonds, or I develop diamonds. And so I truly believe, like I was telling Justin last night, this is the Lord told us back in 2016, this is the path, take it. And so I wrote down next to that little quote, show up and take it. So I don't know if this is helpful for me to verbalize some of these things, but I have just been, I think wondering, like, do I need to start doing something else, like considering another income stream or whatever? But I really feel like for this season, maybe there'll be another season where we like launch out and do some other things. But for this season, I really believe that I'm gonna put all my focus into the development of diamonds. And so a couple of things that I wrote down, like in terms of strategy, is doubling down on development. I think that's a weak link on our team in general. And I think because it feels like we don't have control over it. We can control recruitment because we know if we sit in the chair long enough and send enough messages that we can get triplex customers, or we can get people to start the reset. And I'm not saying we don't do that, because we want to earn the Lululemon pants or get the iPad next month. If you didn't know the incentive for next month, add 6, get an iPad. So get your teams ready. Do not tell them yet. And like, I don't ever tell people like the last 2 days of the month. I want them recruiting all the way up to the end. But I am going to be engaging people and just saying, hey, I know things have been crazy for you, but what if we tap in March? Like, I will be willing to do little weekly phone chats with you. Let's plug back in. There's a really great incentive too, so you don't want to miss it. And also just vision casting for them. Like, what do you want to be at convention? Like, what rank do you want to be on your lanyard? Like, what if we work together? And like offering to power partner up with people, because I think sometimes we expect them to be more like intuitive or more like know what to do automatically, like we were. But what I'm realizing, like talking to more and more people, like high level leaders, a lot of people aren't. And so we have to be that person in the room with them or sitting next to them in the chair being like, okay, here's what we're going to do next. Okay, here's what we're going to do next, while we are working to recruit the diamonds, right? And praying those people into our business. So anyways, those were some specific ways that I personally want to be showing up and thoughts that I want to be thinking. And then, do you guys want me to read the letter that I wrote? Would that be helpful? Because I actually have bullet points of like how I did it. Okay. So I put, Dear Meg, congrats, you did it once again. Reentry Emerald. Here's how you rocked this rank up with joy, peace, and priorities in place. Number 1, committed to high-level activities. When I say high-level activities, that would be sharing the business, posting about the business, reaching out about the business, boldly talking anywhere I go with people. Worked in your genius zone and then delegated the rest. So I have really been thinking through what are the tippy top things I need to do and what can I move off my plate so I can just work in my genius zone. And so like, what can I delegate to my assistant? So it's not that I can't check my perks report or can't like send messages out for declined subs or whatever, but like, that's not where my genius zone lies. I want to be coaching. Like, I think that is the key. And for all of us, like, I think these are things where you guys can jot things down like, ooh, maybe the things that I've been spending a lot of time on that make me feel like I'm working my business is not the actual tippy top, highest level activity that I can do to move the needle forward the most. I hosted monthly and weekly events, and I'm just thinking, like, I have a girl that's like going crazy right now. She's a local health practitioner, but she's in the Amish community, and she's been doing like house calls with these people, but they're like bringing their tribes, and it's really interesting. So I told her, I'm like, we need to consider doing like weekly events where it's going to help retention, because they don't have internet access. It's not like they're going to be filled with goodness from what they're gleaning from online stuff. And I told her, like, to get duplication and keep retention going. I think that could be a key piece. So, and then this is someone that doesn't have influence in this area, because Shelby Mast has all the people she knows, so she recognized that she needed to build online. And also, I mean, she has this Amish clientele, so she's working with what she has. So it's cool. But thinking through weekly and monthly events, hosting in-person events, traveling with when necessary, posted big, bold posts more consistently than ever, and truly showcased how Plexus has blessed and impacted us, like specific, tangible things. Bold business reach outs, 20 to 25 per week, which is a lot for me. Up-leveled customer care and setting expectations. I think part of the retention piece is like getting people plugged into Pivotal, and I have Amanda doing my little drip campaigns for me again, because I have people coming in from that Senior Ruby program also that I don't have connection with. And so like really trying to make sure people are getting the information they need, even if they're like not on our team page, or just another layer of information for them. Met new people. I have, like, being out of my house for stuff, I have been way more intentional about connecting. I gave out several samples when I was on the trip. I made connections with several people. So it's just like a shift, because I think sometimes when I travel, I just like, I'm not gonna expend energy there. But I honestly think it's important. And I did it when we were traveling to Gold School with Laura and Brooke. And it was really interesting because Laura is a natural connector, and she was like giving out her holistic health practitioner cards. And then she was talking to a mom with little kids, and the baby had eczema, and she's like, oh, and hey, I help moms with their babies with skin issues too. So like, feel free to connect with me. I would love to chat. And like, she's so natural at how she talks. And I think the connection was like, there was a couple of labor and delivery nurses. She had this sweatshirt that said something like, I help little people get out of tight spaces or something. And it was like L&D. So she was like loud and proud of it. And so, but anyways, it served as like a connecting point, because there was a couple of nurses that were sitting around us on the plane, and then a really cute family with grandparents, young parents, and then 3 little kids. And so it was really sweet. And Brooke, my friend, was like, oh my word. She's like, it was really cool to see that modeled. So even when you're with your team traveling, or whatever, vendor events or whatever, I think it helps them to see us model, like even hear us talk, because it gives them that, like, oh, I can do that too. It's not anything earth shattering, but it's like the art of connecting with people. Okay. And then I wrote, added tons of value to everyone everywhere. And like, I was just reminded recently, I don't know if it was Brittany Howard, someone recently said, wealth follows value. And that's been a coaching point for me too, because you know how we have people that are like doing the things, but they're like not getting traction. That I think that shows that at least on social media, they don't have influence. And so they don't have a lot of influence. And so they need to figure out how to connect better on social media, and how to add more value, so that they can gain trust with people. And so like Lisa and I've been talking to her girl, Pam, about like what else she could post about. And so at first she was like, well, I'm not interesting. I don't have kids. Like, she was seeing all the things that she didn't have, probably comparing to us. And so we were helping her think. We're like, well, you're going back to college. Like, what are you studying? Or she's like, I do like love to exercise. I'm like, there you go. Like, so sometimes I think it's helping people get creative to know like what they're good at, or where their strengths are, or what they're passionate about, and helping them think through those things, And when they can think through it, and we just like kind of hold the mirror for them, I think that it helps them own it more than if we just tell them, oh, here's what you're good at. Oh, here's what you like to do. But if they can come back to us and tell us, oh, I realize what I like to do, and what I like to, what I think I could talk about. I put consistency, to consistently cast the vision big, like what it could be for them. Doubled down on duplication and coaching, and then helped anyone and everyone reach out and make a post or host an event. And I think that, I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I have said for years, like, I'm not a coach, I'm not people's therapist, like people need to go figure it out. Like that's what we all did, right? And I think that is a thought error because number one, we all know more than the people on our teams. Thus, that makes us mentors, coaches, disciplers, whatever you want to call it, right? I think it's just I've struggled with the title of that, and like I'm willing to step into it now. And I don't know if you guys have had that feeling also, maybe not, but that has been a hold for me because I don't think I've fully stepped into that role and like owned it, but I am now. And I think also that model for coaching has really helped me. Circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. Like that makes so much sense in my brain because I think I always felt like some people would like give me something and be like, I don't know, I would just give them an action step to take instead of actually figuring out, well, what thought are you thinking? Like if you're thinking that, what are you feeling? And then what kind of action are you taking from that? And so like holding the mirror for them where I'm asking them questions, but they're like, oh, I see it now. These are the thoughts and feelings I'm thinking. And that's what's driving my actions and my results. And this self-fulfilled prophecy cycle of staying stuck, So that's been like just incredibly mind-blowing to me. Anywho's, okay. I was so blessed. You guys know who Eva Schmidt is? Her name is spelled like EFJE, but she's the first Canadian diamond and is like a honey. She hosts those 10 a.m. power hours on Tuesdays. And she's spirit led. And I really appreciate her. She talked like for, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe before we really got into the training on Friday. And she just shared some specific affirmations that I thought were so good. She said that sometimes Plexus feels like this big, bright city to her, and she can just kind of get like distracted with all the shiny things in the Plexus city. And she just had affirmations for all of us as diamonds, and I wanted to speak them out over us. And okay, see ya, Ange. Thanks for popping on. This is recorded, so you can catch the rest later. I just wanted to speak this out over us because I thought it was so good. And I actually typed it out on the notes on my phone, so I'll pop it in our thread. So you guys can if you want to speak it over your team or send out little blitz pieces of it to people on your team. But just like the power of spoken words, I think is really amazing. So she said, others are attracted to who we are. We are persons, or I am a person of belief. I have vision. I see beyond and more than others see. I'm visionary and speak it to others. I'm persevering, and I think, you can put this in your own words, so it's you speaking. I'm persevering. I'm gritty. I have discernment and wisdom. I'm responsible and take ownership. I'm responsible for my own thoughts. I'm a lover of people, grace and gratitude filled. And she actually pointed out Brenda Martin. She's like, she is like so full of gratitude. And I appreciate that about her a lot. I'm a culture builder and I'm full of gifts and talents, and I'm growing into a more mature version of myself. I leave an inheritance for others. I'm a long-term legacy-minded leader. I work, serve, and love from this place. So anyways, I wanted to gift those words to you guys as well, because I believe it about you all. And I know that the more clear we are about who we are, the more we'll attract the same to us and to our teams. One thing I wanted to just challenge everybody with is to really consider partnering with the Holy Spirit in their businesses. And I know that, we've talked about it before, but I feel like just really asking the Lord to show you who needs what we have. And I'm going to actually send you guys this recording. I don't remember if I sent it yet or not. It's Christina Williams did a call on February 17th for It was either Jordan or Emily Burgess. Can you guys catch that yet? Okay. It's what we need to do, the actions that we need to take. She delves into a lot more like mindset stuff before she like actually gives the strategy. I've gotten about halfway in twice. I was wanting to get it listened to before we hopped on this, but I'm just gonna send the recording, but give you the cliff notes. So with that whole partnering with the Holy Spirit in mind, she said, okay, so she said, she had a couple action steps. So number one thing is we create culture within our teams. And so be the chief encourager. She said, take the next 2 weeks and specifically reach out to people on your team and just offer a word of encouragement. I thought that was really good and a good reminder. So anyways, I thought that was good. She said, figure out how to make it fun. She said, even their like end of month power hours, which I think I'm gonna do too. I think I'm just gonna pop on Zoom, and whoever wants to pop on tonight and tomorrow night, and we'll just work till the end of the month together. It's gonna be like jump on and grab something, whatever, grab your PJs and a mug or of something yummy or a glass of wine or whatever, and we'll work together because we don't have any days after the subs process to scoop up orders. But I think that it would be good, especially with like the reset group happening next week and things like that. So make it fun, figure out how to make it fun. That's not like I have to work on that. But she said to take the pulse of your business, find out what the blood pressure is, what the energy level is. And she said, when was the last time you like the energy in your business was through the roof? Like what were we doing? What were we believing? And then she also said 80% of the distractions that we have are internal and they're allowed, which I thought was hilarious. 80% of the distractions. Oh, and then she said people are moving forward. And so, but they're showing up in a specific way, like in their attitude and their actions. So I just thought that was interesting. But anyways, she said, in order to create momentum, we need to make a hot 50 list. And so that's why I'm going to challenge everybody that wants to rank up to make a hot 50 list. And she said to go engage with like five to 10 people per day on their social media. So we'll make the 50 list. And these are people specifically that you want to share the business with. So this isn't just Joe Schmo, throw the net wide, anyone and everyone. This is like a vetted list of people that you see potential in. So even making the list itself, I feel like probably we need to put a time cap on that because I feel like it's easy to like procrastinate on that and just want to revert back to like, oh, I'll just like message my green dots. It's faster. But I think taking time to actually sit down and intentionally make the 50 list and then engaging on their stuff. And then the reach outs that we do to them are only about the opportunity. I mean, they can be about life stuff also if you want to be conversational and things like that, but directly, specifically about the opportunity. And then she gave some statistics about how many conversations, how many people will actually say yes from that 50 list. But that's the idea, is like not everybody's going to say yes, not everyone's going to respond, but there's going to be a few that will say, actually, I've been watching you and I would love to do this with you. What do I need to do? So that's the idea. But I think if we can duplicate this down 7 layers deep, we could see some amazing things happen within our teams. And I think she did put a little caveat that if 50 is too big of a list for some people, like if you're just like, well, I want them taking some action, to have them make like a list of 25. And that's totally fine. So I'll send you the recording. Again, I only got about halfway through, but I'm like, okay, this is it. I am actually doing a coaching, like I have just a message group with Kathleen and Wendy and myself, because we're literally like all the same points. And we had the same like point growth over the past year. And so we're like, okay, it's time to go emerald and we can do it by July. So I am working with them and strategizing to help them. But anyways, okay, I'll stop talking for a minute. I don't know, Melody, if you're able to share anything, but from that, or Lisa, did anything come up? Do you feel like it was helpful sharing my brain space? my ramble.
Yes, I know. I wrote all kinds of notes. Go back to my notes here. It was, yeah. Um, allowing the distractions, and I thought I heard, maybe I did watch that because I remember that 80% of them are internal and they are allowed. That was
Mhm.
huge. Uh, and just doing these things on a consistent basis, but keeping the temper, knowing the culture, all of those things. I think that's so good. Vision is so huge.
Mhm.
I think it's easy to get bogged down and then not re-engage what we were doing to
Mhm.
keep us going. And so that's good. I love what you said, that you showed up with joyful expectancy about this business. And so that's resonated with me, in that in your stories and in things that because we can duplicate stories, but if we don't come from a position of expectancy and joy, it's not going to influence other people. It won't add value. So that's huge. That's
Mhm.
huge. So that's probably my biggest takeaway this morning. That one thing.
Mhm. Well, I think it's interesting because it goes back to that tea time I had with Emily Gibson and Jessica in Portugal. We were supposed to go do some sort of fun activity, and we couldn't figure out how to get the segues to work, so we went back and had tea. But Emily was kind of she was coaching Jessica about this particular senior Ruby on Jessica's team, who did this coaching program, did all the things. Jessica was willing to reimburse her like half of the cost or something if she went and did the program. She did all of it except the 200 reach outs. And so Jessica's like, well, I'm like, okay, you didn't do it though, so I'm not paying you half because you didn't hold up the whole end of the bargain. But Emily said, well, it wouldn't have mattered if she did do the 200 reach outs. She wouldn't have been successful. And that was mind blowing to me, because I've always been like, take the action, the results will follow. And to an extent, I still believe that, because I think you can learn so much by taking the action. But I think so many people struggle in their headspace that they don't show up with the right thoughts in their head. They don't have joyful expectancy, or the attitudes that maybe we would be coming from and getting the results from a 200-person reach out, like somebody that's crying in the corner and like copy pasting messages, hoping that something comes from it. So, and like, to be able to teach our people that we're working with this concept, I think could be really huge. Something else that I'd written down, but I don't remember where I put it. Specifically about development. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I love Genevieve said, your yes to Plexus daily matters. I thought that was sweet. Okay, well, really quick, I'll just explain those other little specifics. So the vision part, I already kind of explained, like being able to see more than others see. And then the engaged talent piece, he said, what talent is needed and who? So engaging talent, meaning like as you're building a team. Model levels of achievement that you've never thought possible. How am I going to win? And who am I going to win with? How is the best way? So we had just like some specific questions about the engages talent part. And then the strategy is like basically the plan. So we calculate time, place, activities, and people. And he said, stop unsustainable activities. Is my plan compatible with my lifestyle? Anyways, I think some people are naturally really, really great at strategy. Other people aren't really. And Tamara was saying that she's really great at vision casting and like engaging talent, like relational, like she's very relational, and like she coaches kind of from that position. She doesn't like have a big master plan strategy for people. But some people are really, really great at strategy. I think Melissa Eichenhorst said that like strategy is her game. Like she loves to do that with people. So I just think it's interesting how people have different strengths and things. And then the measurement and accountability thing is like, did I do it? And if not, why not? And if I did it bring the expected results? And if so, then do it more. And I think that can be with little things or big things in our business too, you know. And then fix and adopt. I don't have a whole lot on that, but I think it's just, adapt. Sorry, I wrote it. Fix and adapt. So I think it's just that, like, you know, willingness to pivot on things. Okay. And then let's talk really quick about schedule. Okay, so well, really fast. If you haven't done homework yet, it would be the how I want to show up in my business, the letter to myself on how I did the rank up, the 2-week post audit, which actually I forgot to do that. I think it would just be interesting to see, just to have a quantitative, you know, numbers of business posts, product posts, life posts, things like that. It's just for yourself to like be aware. Oh, and then this week's homework is to listen to that call and make the 50 list. And then let's see who we can get on our teams to do the same. So, or some version of that. Okay. March calendar so far is every Tuesday at 10 is the work and worship power hour. So I personally can never be on that because that's the time of our co-op class. But so thus I forget to like remind people. But if you have people on your teams that time works really well for them, or just want to throw it out there for people, that could be amazing because it's Eva Schmidt and her team, and then Jessica. Okay, and then the Welcome to Plexus calls on Wednesdays. I think our team is hosting like all of those this month. When are you doing yours, Lisa? Melody's is the 8th, I think.
Yep, actually mine is, I think, the 29th. I have to confirm that again.
Okay.
Because the date changed.
Okay. And then I think Lisa or Amy is doing one too.
Do you remember what that girl's name is that's doing it from corporate?
Is it? I don't know.
I'll find it.
Melody, what is Brittany's Mexico challenge? That's probably the same thing. Well, she can maybe send it on our Jewel chat. Okay, and then we're gonna do 2 resets. The pre-spring break reset, which is March next week, basically, but it would start Tuesday and go through Thursday. And then, so that's our team hosting, and then Carissa's team is gonna host one at the very end of the month that we can plug people into and get people sharing about it, the 28th through the 30th. And then Carissa is hosting with Gretchen the Tuesday coaching call on the 7th. And then Cassie, Howard, and Lisa, are you game for that still, doing the 14th coaching? Okay. So that's the 14th. And then the next week is spring break. So we're not doing coaching on the 21st. And then on the 28th, I think I'm hosting that. And the new builders coaching will be the 14th. And then, oh, actually, no. I'm not doing a coaching call on the 28th. I'm going to do a power hour to help people push for Ruby Retreat and convention contest. So yay, we have the trackers finally. And convention contest actually goes to the end of April. I think some of us were confused and thinking that It ended in March, so yay, we have more time. So that's what I have on my calendar. So welcome to Plexus on Wednesdays. Oh, and then the reset groups.
Sounds good.
Do you guys have anything else that you are doing with your teams or things that are working? Melody said something about the Mexico challenge, which I'm curious about.
I can't wait for the iPad. I'm really praying that it will engage some of our people that had the potential. I was thinking about how I was talking to Amy about last time we had the iPad incentive. I think it wasn't it 2019,
Probably.
and we had like almost 100 ads on our team that month. That was the most we'd ever had. It was crazy. And I've just gone back to that time and what we're doing different, or what we know more now than we did then, and how we can lead differently when there are times of momentum, or to help create that, and that duplication piece, and that just asking those 3 wins and the 3 doubts to those people that are adding all these people to get them so that they're leading better, and they're developing, and they're not just doing it to get an iPad. Obviously that's like the little hook, but or the bait rather. So I don't know, that I'm just thinking about how our team is different compared to that year, and how we can use it to grow in a deeper way rather than just a shallow, quick little burst.
Well, because with that much of an influx, I mean, just get based on the numbers. With if there's 100 people added to your team, some of those people will share. And so, like, how do we engage them? And it's probably because their sponsors are not plugging them in, or not offering the opportunity. But where maybe as leaders we can double down on making sure people know the questions to ask, and funneling them into, like, if there are some people that are kind of intrigued with the sharing piece, or they want to earn an iPad too, to be able to get face to face on little, like, Facebook Messenger chat, like have them create a 3-way message, and then go just everyone hop on their videos in there. And I mean, I know that it's more work for us, but it's seasonal. But like, I think during a high momentum season, sometimes we are more inconvenienced to engage and try to connect with some of those people that could be the next diamonds on our teams, versus they kind of just fall by the wayside because nobody connects. I feel like there was something else on my brain. I'm gonna have to think about what that was. Oh, Bridget Ryan mentioned something about really working towards getting a lot of people at Gold School. It's on the East Coast in May 5th. And I thought that was good. I think Justin's going to go to the next one because I think that there'll be at least one guy from our team that earns it. And he went to one last summer and it was really good. So I think working towards helping people earn that, and just vision casting for them and being able to plug them into an event pretty quick is helpful.
Do we know where on the East Coast?
It's Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yeah. Okie doke. Well, thanks guys for popping on. I will get this recording up.
Have a good day.
Yes, you too. All right. See you, girls.
Bye.